Yes, EFD squad, welcome back to the Euro Roundup with me and Pat, where we take a look at the highs and lows of European football from the weekend just past. Pato, who are our first winners? Let's dive straight in.
It's got to be Napoli, and once again there was one tiny little Belgian man who stole the show, wasn't there?
There was, mate. He starred again for Sarri's side and swept aside the Genoese with practically 2 assists. He did get 1 assist, but his solo run wreaked havoc for the second goal. He now has 16 goals and 4 assists in 16 starts.
Oh my God.
That is chicken oriental. Cockney rhyming slang for mental. Even further than that, he's won 8 Man of the Match awards in those 16 games. In 50% of the games he plays, he is the standout guy this season. Not only that, let's have a closer look at his stats. He's dispossessed less than 1 time a game. That's better than Ronaldo and Suárez. He's offside every 2 games, which is crazy as he's been playing point man in Sarri's system. That's twice as good as Ronaldo. And he completes 2 take-ons and averages 1.5 key passes a game. That's nearly 3 times better than Juventus's Higuain, who also scored 2 yesterday. These are crazy, crazy numbers, aren't they? Unprecedented. Last season, he got 5 goals, 5 assists.
And he's actually overshadowing his teammates, and his teammates are contributing as well. I want to talk about Piotr Zielinski, who's now been involved in 8 goals in his last 10 games. 3 goals and 5 assists. So Sarri afterwards said he could become one of the best midfielders in Europe. He was highly coveted before he went to Napoli. Those are absolutely fantastic numbers. And if they continue at this rate, then maybe they don't compete for the title this year, but maybe 1 season or 2 down the road, they do again. They've only lost 4 games this season. They've scored 72. They've conceded 35. This is an incredibly good side who basically suffer for the fact that Juventus are unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, another great weekend for Napoli and another great weekend for Dries Mertens.
What do you guys think? Are they the most underrated team in Europe? Let us know in the comments below. Twitter user LeDude brings us off first. Losers, and we couldn't agree more. It is Thomas Tuchel's Dortmund side who lost 2-1 to bottom place Darmstadt, Pat. Oh.
Yeah, goals from Boyd and Chorlak left Dortmund in 4th now on 34 points. Things are changing very quickly at the top of the Bundesliga. Now, going into this game, Aubameyang had scored more goals than the whole of Darmstadt. He had 17. But you wouldn't have guessed that from this game because the home side had 7 shots on target to the away side's 4. They're really, really good. And actually, the only real bright spark for Dortmund was Emre Mor, who was absolutely sensational. 6 take-ons he completed. 6 take-ons. I can't believe it. Anyway, he set up Rafa Guerreira's goal as well. So it's a very bright future for the little Turkish man, but a very dark day for Dortmund.
Yeah, and it's good to see him back on the score sheet after that lengthy absence of 2. I've got an odd stat here for you, Pat. It's not that odd, you know, Dortmund's squad are pretty young. But in Darmstadt's starting 11, bearing in mind this is a side that's only recently come up, they had more Bundesliga experience in it, 865 games, than BVB's 822 games.
Nice.
So was this game a case of a couple of wily old foxes outwitting their younger counterparts? Let me tell you who those wily old foxes were. It was Darmstadt's Gondorf and Altintop. Good old Altintop, who's 34
Gandalf.
now. Yeah, Gandalf, wielding his, staff. But as a team, they made 20 tackles, and the pair I just mentioned made 11 of those in that 4-2-3-1. So they were colossus in front of that back 4. But it was a couple of new boys who actually wrapped up the points. Former Leipzig winger Terence Boyd and Hoffenheim loanee Kolak both scored. The latter, who you mentioned as well, actually has 4 goals in 11 substitute appearances. Wow. So Nagelsmann might be keeping one eye on him. So impressive stuff from him. Not so impressive from Dortmund, who remain behind Eintracht Frankfurt. Thomas Tuchel's men, what are you doing? What's going on, Dortmund fans? Let us know in the comments below.
Our next winners might be making their debut on the Euro Roundup. It's Real Sociedad, who won 2-1 away at Espanyol this weekend.
They did, Pato, and this leaves them 1 point behind Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid in 5th. That is insane. And one person who's contributing to this very, very good run of form is Asier Erramendi. Couldn't roll my R's quite like you there, but we'll move on. He's been outstanding since his return to that Anoeta. He's putting in 3 tackles a game, 3.5 interceptions a game, and 5 completed long balls a game from that deep lying position. Obviously, Real bought him as a long-term replacement for Xabi Alonso all those years ago. Didn't quite hit his peak whilst at the Bernabeu, but it's certainly showing that he's enjoying being back at his hometown club now. And if you want to see a little bit more about him, we did a little rundown of his season, didn't we? And his sort of style of play on Scout Report. So go and watch that after this, after you've watched all of this.
And check out the goal as well, which is absolutely delicious. It's only the 5th of Iaramendi's career. Incredible stuff. And it was a day for the unusual. Inigo Martinez, the defender, he got his first assist in La Liga after 179 games in the competition. Oof. Now, Sociedad are a really attractive kind of ball-playing side. They had 62% of the possession in this game, and they more than doubled Espanyol's shots and shots on target. So it was utter domination. Now, Espanyol are actually having a solid season themselves. They're in 9th place at the moment, and if they were to finish there at the end of the season, it would be their best finish since the 2010-2011 year. So this is not an easy fixture for them. But look, Sociedad, they just keep rolling on. They keep winning. They've lost more games than the teams around them, but they've also won more games than any team in the league except for Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Sevilla. So it looks like they could well have a very exciting end to the season. But will they make the Champions League places? Could they catch Atletico Madrid? Who knows? Let us know in the comments below. Losers, Leicester City. It's a very familiar combination of words at this point, isn't it, Chris? I'm going to stay.
Oh, my hometown club. They go from bad to worse as they lost their 14th consecutive away game, slumping to a 2-0 defeat at the Liberty Stadium. Yeah. Disgusting scenes, Pato. I actually thought, there was cause for hope in the first 10 minutes. Leicester started brightly, their front three were pressing well. Demarai Gray looked lively. Yeah, he did. And Ndidi looks like he can actually play at this level after Leicester got it wrong with Amati and Mendy, so far. But no, it wasn't to be. I mean, we were creating a similar amount of chances. Swansea had 10 shots, Leicester had 9, but Leicester only tested the goalkeeper once throughout the game. And that is largely owing to Jamie Vardy's form or lack of form. He's not registered a shot on target in over 500 minutes.
Whoa.
And if we'd gone in level, then I think the momentum is probably with Leicester, but as they've done so many times this season, it's actually the 15th time they've conceded in the 10 minutes before half-time this season. So really poor going into the break. And, when Mawson's scoring volleys like that, it's just not going to go your way.
Well, I think as well, the Leicester might consider themselves a little bit lucky that Robert Huth wasn't sent off. He made that bad challenge in the first half in a kind of 50-50 with Tom Carroll. Then later on, little intentional handball in the box where he was trying to set himself up for a shot, which I did enjoy.
It's just what Huth does.
But they had no pace to start with this backline, and this season they're getting exposed again and again. Leicester haven't scored in 6 consecutive league games now, which is a new low for a reigning champion. Though that every few games this season, it seems Leicester are setting a new record for a reigning champion. And they only have 1 point in 2017.
Do you know, only Aston Villa have been that poor in England's top leagues.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh.
In 2017. 1 point. 1 solitary point.
It's not great, is it?
But we had a conversation earlier, didn't we, earlier about the mentality of Leicester. So last season they seemed to thrive on being the underdogs, and now the players seem very inhibited about the prospect of going down as champions. They came from 2-0 down against Aston Villa actually to win 3-2 last season, and there was points where they were a goal down, two goals down, when you thought Leicester is still in this, and it doesn't seem to have affected the players, at least outwardly, but it seemed to weigh heavily on them. There was only 2 or 3 players in that team, Danny Drinkwater and Ndidi and Demarai Gray, who really carried on with any sort of purpose and looked like they believed they could get something from the game. It's pretty disheartening to watch.
Well, you wonder if there is a sense of inevitability. So last season they obviously started to believe they were going to win the title, and it did spur them on, even though they were, they didn't have the same level of talent or quality that, say, Spurs had. You wonder if this season they start to get that fear of we're going to be the first champions to get relegated the next season, and that might contribute to a slip. But also, of course, Swansea have got a new manager, Hull have got a new manager, and things have really improved. So Mahrez now has a really tough time in his game. He was dispossessed twice in this game, completed no dribble, no tackles because they were kind of doubling up on him. Whereas Gylfi Sigurdsson, everyone knows he's Swansea's danger man, but Swansea still managed to find him in space and get him the ball. Like you say though, Demarai Gray and Ndidi were 2 bright spots. And Demarai Gray completed 9 take-ons in this game, which is an insanely high number. 3 is above average
He
in the
actually
game.
completed 3 in 3 second-half minutes.
Jesus. And indeed, he won 2 tackles, won 7 aerial duels, and made 4 chances for himself. So he's a very versatile kind of all-action midfielder. So there are bright spots here, and you still would have thought they have too much talent to go down. But do you think that they will? Let us know what you think in the poll. Just up there are the Foxes on their way to the Championship, and is Chris Hamill on his way to total misery.
2 of the 3 next league games are against Arsenal and Liverpool, so don't let that influence your vote.
Entertainment.
Our last winners come from Liam Stewart on Twitter, and he's plumped on Feyenoord Pater, who defeated Groningen 2-0 with 2 goals from Toornstra.
Yes, they did. They're now 5 points clear of Ajax at the top of the table, and frankly, they were not flattered by this scoreline. No. Groningen will consider themselves pretty lucky. Feyenoord had 72% of possession, had 17 shots, had 7 on target, while Groningen managed just 1. Feyenoord have won their last 21 Eredivisie games when they've scored first. They really do know how to see out a game. And as Chris said, Toornstra got the goals. He scored either side of half-time. He had 2 shots, and both of them went in. He really put them to the sword. But who else caught your eye?
Mate, it was Terence Kongolo, who has the best dual success rate in the Eredivisie this season. That's headers and tackles. It exceeds 70%, which is mad. He put in another 3 tackles this game, and he's only 23 to boot, Pato. So keep your eye on him, guys. Tony Vilhelna also played very well, playing in front of Kongolo in that 4-3-3. He completed 3 dribbles, making a match-high amount of passes as well, and touches. He had about 106 touches in the game, so he was willing to take responsibility for his team, wanted to get on the ball all the time. And again, he's only 22. If he's willing to take on that mantle, fair play to him. Do you remember when he burst on the scene in 2013-14? That was still his best season. He got 6 goals then. He's got 3 at the minute and 15, so if he carries on this way, it will be his best season yet. It's good to see him fulfil his potential, at least for now. So, yeah.
Exciting times for Feyenoord. Looks like they're going to pick up another title. Our final losers of the weekend are Lyon, who lost 2-1 away from home at Guingamp. So they're now 13 points behind Nice in 4th, and more pressingly, they're only 1 ahead of Saint-Etienne in the 5th. So they're in danger of slipping out of the elite section of the league altogether. But I wonder if actually we should put Guingamp in our winners instead. They've won 4 out of 6 games against the top 4 this season. So they love to take a juicy old scalp.
Actually, things look pretty hunky-dory for Lyon as Lacazette opened the goal, scoring with a lovely curling shot that nestled in the bottom right of the net. And he's now scored 20-plus league goals in 3 consecutive seasons. The first player to do this since Paoletta in 2003. Even Zlatan didn't do this, mate. That is mad. And the first French player since Papin. And they continue to create chances. They created actually twice the amount that Guingamp did. Over twice the amount. They created 15 to Guingamp's 7. But Lyon's defence looked ragged on the counter-attack, and it cost them eventually as Salibor and Benizet caused havoc. The latter actually scored a lovely deft header and laid on the first, so he gets my man of the match. But will Lyon get Champions League football, guys? Let us know in the comments below, because Saint-Etienne are chomping at the bit. Time for our highlight and lowlight, Pato, and my highlight this week is Sarri, Napoli's manager, saying whoever said that he was moving to Juventus, he's going to find them and he's going to sue them. That a boy, stay faithful to the little donkeys. Love him.
My lowlight of the week is actually pretty funny. It's Veltman playing for Ajax in the Eredivisie. Late on in the game, he points at one of his teammates who's lying injured on the ground. And when the defender turns around to look at the injured player, Veltman just runs off and whips a ball into the box.
Absolute shithousery.
It's unbelievable. That's the kind of thing I expect from Joe Tomlinson, this little snake.
So that is the end of the show, guys. Have we missed any winners and losers out? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, make sure that you check out this weekend's Stat Wars, which is an absolute corker. I actually think I'm winning this week in the story section, so unprecedented scenes. I didn't know that was allowed, but... And as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you next time.